Welcome to Cyberfest, Cyber North, which is the regional cluster for cybersecurity in the northeast of England. We put on a festival every September called Cyberfest, and we run programs of activities. We do workshops, we do presentations, even a big conference this year all around cybersecurity. And this year we've got 16 events, and I think this is about number seven, so about halfway through the program now. They're in person, they're online, a real mixture, and they typically are for people who work in and around the cyber sector. But one of the things that we thought when we we're planning the program for this year is we really want to bring more people into the sector, and I'll talk a bit more about that in a sec. And one of the things that we rely on are influencers like you. So we need people like you who are working with young people all of the time, and support them in the school environment or in the community environment, even at home, to try and encourage them to think about cybersecurity as a viable career option for them. So hopefully by the end of this presentation, I will have sold cybersecurity to you, and you'll be a bit more informed as to how to then talk to your young people about roles in cybersecurity. So I'm Danielle Phillips. I'm one of the directors of Cyber North. I've also got another colleague with me today, Andrew Pounder, who will be talking to you about one of our programs. So yeah, that's basically the start of this session. Right, and my slides are, there we go. So, Cyber North, for those of you who haven't heard of us before, our job really is to grow this thriving ecosystem of cybersecurity organisations in the northeast of England. We're typically known when people say, "Oh, what's the northeast good for?" The first things that come to mind are shipbuilding and coal mining. Well, we haven't been really good at that for about 30 years, so we've had to move with the times. And cybersecurity is one of the areas actually will set the northeast apart from many other parts of the UK in the future. It's really a thriving, booming sector, and it's an area that we struggle to recruit people into. And we need to sort of bridge that gap and make sure that people know that there's some really, really good opportunities here for them in the cyber sector. So Cyber North is here to create opportunities to bring the community of cyber professionals together. We encourage collaboration between cyber organizations to kind of help them innovate, help them develop new products and services. When we're also here to let people know that we are a centre for excellence in cybersecurity and to really celebrate that. So as I mentioned, we're here to raise awareness of the sector. We're here to support existing cyber businesses, and that's a lot of what we do with Cyberfest. We're here to help create new businesses. So we're starting to develop an innovation centre for new businesses who are looking to develop cybersecurity products and services and organisations. And we're also here to address the skills and employment shortages, experiences that we see in the region as well. So this is largely what we're focused on today. So how do we address that skills gap and that employment issue? So a couple of things I want to run through today. I will be speaking at pace, given that we've only got a short amount of time and quite a lot to cover. So forgive me already for that. At least you won't have to watch it a double time when you're watching it on repeat. So firstly, we're going to talk about cybersecurity employment opportunities, just so you can get a picture of what that looks like and really give you some ideas of the kinds of situation that we have here in the region. Then we'll look around types of jobs within the sector. So again, you've got some information that you can go back to your young people with and explain to them what kind of roles exist here and in other places within cyber. We'll then look at the kinds of skills that employers are typically looking for. I'll run through the training options that are available as well. Then I've got a whole host of useful links that hopefully will help you with your ongoing conversations and to develop your knowledge around this sector as well. And then we'll have some time for questions. I hope we'll have about 10 minutes at the end for questions. So I'll crack on. So cybersecurity is in fact just endless in terms of the opportunities. So what sort of opportunities do we have here in the sector? Well, right now, there are about 57,000 people employed in cybersecurity roles across the UK. It is a growing sector. We saw an increase of about 6,000 jobs just within a year between 2021 and 2022. So that's massive, sort of 13% increase in roles over that period. Not many other sectors grown at that scale and that speed right now. We reckon by we, the Cybersecurity Council of the United Kingdom reckons that there's about 14,000 current skills shortages. So roles that can't be filled because we don't have the skilled people to be able to fill those. So for people looking to go into a career where there are plenty of jobs and plenty of opportunity, cybersecurity is one of them. Um, there's also quite a bit of money floating around this sector as well. So the cyber sector, if you think about it in terms of countries, it will be the third largest country behind the US and China. So cybersecurity globally is worth about 5 trillion US dollars a year. So it's not an insignificant, kind of scale. It's just massive and it's just growing all of the time. We think about cybersecurity as just one of the largest growing sectors in the UK and around the world. And there are about 1 million people globally employed in this space at the moment. When we talk to young people about cybersecurity, and old people, obviously, people often are thinking, well, okay, so how much do you get paid if you're working in cyber? It is a very well paid sector, and because of the skills shortages, the power really sits with the employees. So currently, an analyst, a cybersecurity analyst, somebody who would probably either have a degree or an apprenticeship and be going into their first job in cybersecurity, will be looking at an average salary of about £42,000. If you go a bit more kind of specialized in your skills and you do something like penetration testing, so that's somebody who is effectively an ethical hacker, they get an average salary of about £56,000 here in the UK. And if you wanted to go more down the legal side of things, more around compliance and governance, that sort of role is more around 70,000. So that's a bit more of an advanced role. It wouldn't be an entry level role, but just to give you an idea of the kinds of opportunities and the sort of the salaries that are associated with that. If you want to go for a CISO role, which is a Chief Information Security Officer type role, top of the tree, you're looking at about 130,000, again, national average. So great if you want to earn some good money, but it's not just about that. There are other benefits to working in cyber as well. So when we think about the kinds of careers that are available within cybersecurity, there are a plethora of careers and different ways to talk about them. But I think this is a really good tool that's been developed by the UK Cybersecurity Council. So effectively, it's a website that you can jump onto and it gives you what they've termed their 16 pathways for specialisms in cybersecurity. Now, they might not all be called the same things by everyone, but it's nicely grouped, and I thought this would be a helpful tool for you to think about as well. So this is a really interactive tool. You can click into it, and you can then look at different roles. So, for example, security testing, you can click into security testing, and it then takes you to a page that has lots more information, really drilling down to the specifics of working as a security tester. So it goes into what that day-to-day working life might look like, what kind of responsibilities you might be having in that role, what sort of knowledge do you need to have, and kind of the skills that are important as well. What progression opportunities are there available, and how do you get into that job? So lots of different ways to really understand and pick apart the role. And I think this is particularly useful when we're in a situation where we don't know much about the sector, and we can use this resource to share with other people about what kind of things they can expect. And that's also helpful if if your young person doesn't necessarily have a direct relationship with somebody working in cyber, that they can't then talk to them about that job either. Andrew, can I just pause for a second and just make sure that if anybody's coming into the waiting room that you're letting them in as well, is that okay?
Yeah, okay.
Great, thank you. So that's worth having a look at. That's UK Cybersecurity Council. I will send you the link to that as well as in this PowerPoint. But I think that's really valuable as a resource and it will really help to drill down. And if somebody's thinking about cyber, it's just worthwhile sitting in front of that site for an hour and looking at all of the different options that are available. But actually, within cybersecurity, only about 1/3 of all of the roles are technical. So about 2/3 of those roles are non-technical. And what do we mean by that? Well, we also think about the kind of auxiliary support that goes around cybersecurity professionals. So any cyber company needs to have a legal department, HR, marketing, comms, leadership, management, finance, procurement, training, all of the normal business functions. So there's a huge opportunity to get people who are interested in working in HR to be looking at how they can get into cybersecurity as well as the HR profession. Similarly, legal, we're kind of making it up as we go along, particularly with things like AI. So it's a really innovative area for people who are looking to go into a legal career to be thinking about a specialism as well. Um, Communications, that's my background. I have an organisation that we talk to people about cybersecurity and how they can help make that simple and understandable in the workplace. So 9 out of 10 cyber incidents happen because of human error, because people don't understand what they should be doing right. So comms, training, leadership management, all really important disciplines in the sector as well. So it's worthwhile thinking about that holistic approach to cyber. And it's just not just for those people who have got really good technical or hacking or testing skills. It's broader than that. So what are employers looking for when it comes to cyber professionals? Well, obviously this is a bit of a generalization because depending on the role, it will obviously depend on the specific skills, but generally you're looking for someone who's got an analytical mind, someone who is logical, they're inquisitive, they're strategic, they're really, a deep thinker. So if you've got people who you're supporting who are just excellent problem solving, that's the kind of person that we need in cyber. We need to be thinking one step ahead of the bad guys and how are they doing things and how are they putting together information and attacks and where can we be getting information from. So it really does require those kind of analytical skills. We also really think that there's really is a big place for people who have got linguistic skills, so foreign language skills, strong communication skills. People who can follow rules and processes flourish in cyber. People who are self-starters and work individually. Particularly if you're working in an in-house team, in a local authority or a school situation, you might not be part of a very big team, so you have to be able to work by yourself or sort of in a small group environment. So it's worth noting as well that cybersecurity is a great profession for people who see themselves as being neurodiverse. So a lot of the traits of neurodiversity apply really, really well to cybersecurity roles. And a lot of the profession is supported by people who have got neurodiversity and really they flourish in that environment as well. So it's worthwhile considering this sort of area for people who see themselves as being neurodiverse. So with training options for cybersecurity, there's a lot of stuff out there, but I've just kind of broken this down into bite-sized chunks for you so you can see what we sort of talk about and what we see coming through quite often, both from a Cyber North perspective, but from our employers who we work with in the region. And I must say as well, there are about 80 cybersecurity companies in the Northeast. And they're all a really friendly bunch. So if you do have people who are interested in pursuing careers within cybersecurity or just want to find out a bit more, they're welcome to come along to our Cyber North events, but also if we can do anything to put them in touch with organisations that are part of Cyber North, and to be able to have conversations, I'm sure many of them would welcome that. So please take us up on that opportunity too. So back to training then. So we've got pre-16, there's actually quite a bit of good stuff going on in schools around what can be done to help people learn more about cybersecurity. It is on the national curriculum up until Key Stage 3 and then it drops off. So Cyber First is a programme that's been set up and I'll let Andrew talk a bit more about what that means.
Yeah, I'll just make myself available. Yes, thanks, Danielle. Yes, I work as a business engagement manager with Cyber North, and one of my main roles at the moment is to encourage businesses in the Northeast who have cybersecurity professionals or even sell cybersecurity services to sign up as STEM ambassadors, but then with the National Cybersecurity Centre, who set up the Cyber First programme, then to sign a few more forms just to cover their backs to be cyber ambassadors as well, which we want them to go on site at schools and try and inspire and encourage children to see that there are different roles in cybersecurity that they can do. And it could be something like forensics, or someone might be better at social engineering. So you don't have to be a programmer. You don't necessarily have to have mathematics. So that's what we're trying to do at the moment. We have 15 schools in the region in the Northeast who are already signed up as Cyber First schools. And each one of those needs to have a cyber ambassador, basically to liaise with. So if a teacher has a subject which they're not too confident on in cybersecurity, and a lot of teachers are they're struggling with the full background of cybersecurity, then it's a great opportunity for the cyber ambassador to come on site and to help educate them. Might be something about certificates or encrypted software, or it could be anything just like online awareness and safety. So that's what I'm working with the education sector. You may or may not know Sarah's a man and Nick, the Tynemouth Priory, and also RTC North. That team look after the STEM Ambassador database, but also running the Cyber First programme, administrating that in the Northeast. So if you want to liaise or chat about Cyber First, about your own school requirements, or getting into the schools as STEM ambassadors or cyber ambassadors, then Danielle will give the details at the end of how to get in touch with us. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's brilliant. I think Cyber First is a really great way to get young people into cybersecurity, thinking about it and understanding that even if they didn't go into cybersecurity as a career, just to have those skills to be able to look after their own data and finances and information. One of the things that Andrew didn't mention there is Cyber First also provides some funding around getting people into university programs as well. So it's worth kind of having a chat and seeing if there's anything we can do to support if you've got people who are looking to move into that area. But as you mentioned, I do have a link around Cyber First, so you can drop onto that and get in touch if you've got any more questions. So as well as pre-16, we have plenty going on in the post-16 education space as well, which I'm sure some of you are already familiar with. So 3 weeks ago, the government launched the first T-level in cybersecurity. Now, for the life of me, I can't find anyone in the region who is delivering this just yet, but it is early days. So hopefully that will be something that we can see happen in the future. Apprenticeships, on the other hand, are quite a well-trodden path now. So there are 3 apprenticeships in cybersecurity. There's sort of the level 3, so the school leaver apprenticeship, the level 4, the cybersecurity technologist, and then there's also the level 6, which is more of a master's level apprenticeship. In the Northeast, we do have a couple of providers who do both of those apprenticeships, and they seem to be really well attended, and something that people are interested in looking at from both an apprentice and an employer perspective. Sorry. We as an organisation have set out to try and create something new, which is called a flexi job apprenticeship. So it's part of a Department for Education pilot around creating a flexi job apprenticeship agency. And essentially what that would mean would be Cyber North would be an agency that would employ apprentices and match them with different employers. The idea being that one apprentice would have 3 or 4 employers that they worked around over the period of their apprenticeship, which means that that apprentice gets 3 or 4 employers worth of experience over 2 or 3 years as opposed to one. And that really opens up the opportunity then for them to work across a plethora of cybersecurity organizations, types of work, and business types as well. So you could imagine that an apprentice might spend a year with a local authority, a year with a cybersecurity multinational, and a year with a very specialist SME in cyber, giving them just a wealth of experience very, very quickly. And that also then would enable SMEs, small to medium-sized businesses in our region, get more involved in the apprenticeship route, which at the moment is a bit tricky for them to be able to do just because of the duration and the breadth of the programs. So we're really hoping that comes off, and we can let you know more about that if and when that happens. when that happens, should I say, be a bit more positive. But I think that's a great route for those leaving school, but also those leaving sort of post 18, 19-year-old as well. If they want a different route rather than going to university, they could consider that as well. Post-19 education, so we've got obviously degree programs, and there are, again, a number in the region. There are degrees that are certified by the Cybersecurity Council, I think. I'll clarify that, but there's a link on the next slide about that as well. And there are those degrees that aren't certified. It really just depends on the kind of role that you want to be doing going forward as to which one you want to choose. But there's a link there, and you can have a look at those programs and work out a bit more about the specifics if you do have students who are interested in doing that. And again, plenty of master's programs and master's apprenticeship level programs as well, that employers are putting people through on a funded basis as a way of attracting the best talent. So that's something to consider. Boot camps is another thing. Again, you might be familiar with this, but cybersecurity boot camps are particularly popular for those who are either they've finished A levels and they've gone into work, then they've decided it's not for them and they want to try something different, or they've done a degree and they want to try something a bit different to what their degree was in. So it really is that post-19 area that these focus on. And the boot camp programs operate for usually 3 months, and you go in a day a week and you learn about cybersecurity, and then you get a qualification at the end. Best part for me is you then put in front of a panel of different employers who are looking to recruit cybersecurity professionals. So you're given experience of doing interviews, and hopefully you land a job off the back of it. I know colleagues at Gateshead College who are delivering these boot camps are working with people like Sage to place their boot camp graduates into roles in cyber in Sage. So really great progression, great opportunities for people who are looking to get into the sector. In that green box in the top right hand corner, you can see that experience is a massive barrier to entry with cybersecurity. So often people have the pieces of paper, but they still struggle to get the roles. So in the Northeast, we have the greatest saturation of STEM graduates in the whole of the country, yet we still have a problem recruiting cybersecurity people into roles. So a lot of what employers are telling us is it's not that they haven't got the skills, it's that they haven't got the experience. So apprenticeships naturally bridge that gap. But if you can encourage people who are thinking about going into cybersecurity to get some work experience as well, that's really going to set them ahead. And like I say, we've got a really friendly network of organisations who I know would love to hear from your students to get them going in that way as well. They are the future talent, they're their pipeline. They want to encourage them. So if we can do anything to support you with that, please let us know. And here are all of the useful links. So we'll send out this presentation. You can keep this and just refer to it as and when you need to. And if there's anything we can do to support you, please get in touch. Our link's on there. Tech Talent Engine, I've also put that on, another Northeast driven initiative around all roles in technology across the world, but looking at what those roles will be and breaking them down and looking at different organisations who have those roles. So it's a really helpful tool. Cyber North website, we're getting the jobs board as well. So we will start posting jobs that have become available in the region too. So again, another good tool for you to be able to look at if you know someone who's trying to get their foothold in the cyber sector, they can start looking at our jobs board. We'll talk about the rest of the things that are on there. And there's the National Centre for Cybersecurity who certify those degree programs. So that is the end of my whistle-stop tour of careers and training options in cybersecurity. I'm going to pause the share there, and I can see there are a couple of questions in the chat, so we'll go straight there. I hope that was useful. Okay, what have we got? Actually, Matt, if you go onto our website, on the Cyber North website, there's a page for Cyber First. You can see there who the schools are that are already part of Cyber First. I think that's up to date, Andrew, and if it's not, it won't be far off. So there's a list of all the different schools that are on there.
Yeah, that's what I was going to check first, just to make sure I had all 15 and we hadn't missed any from the list. So
cool. And if we have, just let us know. But yeah, I think that's why we put them, so you can see. And like we're really delighted that so many schools are coming forward to want to be part of this as well. It's they're seeing the value in being part of this program, so it's great. And if anyone on the call wants to talk further about how that could benefit your school or your area, then please talk to us. That would be great. Come on, you must have a question. I did just talk at myself for the past half an hour. Right, for the flexi job apprenticeship, how does the funding work around what the employer receives? So with apprenticeships, there is no direct funding to employers. Employers have to pay for the apprenticeship through, and usually do this through the apprenticeship levy. In the event that they're a small to medium-sized business, they have to pay 5% of the cost of the apprenticeship program, which, depending on the level of the apprenticeship, can be from a couple of hundred to a couple of £1,000. In most instances, and what we're trying to do is to work with the larger businesses in the region to say, if you've got, Northumbrian Water, for example, who are going to support us with this, if they have a surplus in their levy, can they sort of give some of that effectively to small businesses so that they don't even have to pay that 5%? So the only cost to the small business is the salary of the individual, and we are going to set that at the I've forgotten the term for it. It's not the national minimum wage. It's the dear me, what's it called? The living wage standard. So that then means that regardless of your age, you'll be earning the same, which we think is the right thing to do, and it seems to be what a number of our local employers do as well. So there's no funding for the employer, but there's also no other cost to them other than the salary, which I think is something like the living wage is somewhere around £10-ish an hour. Does that help, Susan?
Yeah, sorry, I'm saying yes, but my mic's not on. Yeah, I just know some employers a couple of years ago they were offered an incentive of about £3,000 to take
Okay.
on an apprentice, and I think smaller businesses were also offered this, but there was a time frame for it, so I didn't know how that would work if they were split across 3 companies.
There's no
But
such.
but you've answered it because you've said there's no funding for them other than if it's a huge company, obviously they'll use their levy pot to put their learner through the
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, if and when that sort of pot of money comes along again, we'll be the first to shout about it if we can get
Yeah.
access to it. So yeah, for sure, we'll let you know. But currently there isn't any. I think with the RDF and lots of changing in funding across the board, that's probably had an impact on that sort of thing too. Angie, do we have any information about becoming a Cyber First school which you can send to us to promote within our school, please? We do. So we've got, if you go onto the cybernorth.biz website, there's a Cyber First page there. And we can also send you some more information when we send out the PowerPoint after this call as well, Angie, if that's useful. And I'm sure Andrew will be happy to come and talk to you and promote it within your school too, if that's useful.
I think if you want, just send an email to me, Andrew. I'll put it in there, andrew@cybernorth.biz, and then I'll get in touch with the education people who will be able to liaise, because you may be talking to Sarah Zaman anyway as the education liaison person.
Yeah, this is a program that we work on with RTC North. So we, together we form the team, but different people do different things. Okay, we've hit the half hour. Are there any burning questions that you'd like to ask before we close this off? Speak now or forever hold your peace. I'll also put my email address in there, and then you can drop us a note if you have any further questions. We'll be in touch with the pack from today, and just thank you very much for your time and interest in this topic. It's very important for us that we can have this conversation with you, and we're here to support you if there's anything else you need, or you've got any students that need any further information or point in the right direction, then let us know. We're here to help. So thank you so much. Have a great Wednesday afternoon and talk soon. Cheers.